Hi, and welcome to 36.co. You might be taking the ACT for the first time, or you might be taking it for the second time, or maybe you haven't even heard of the term ACT before. I wanted to create this guide so that I can walk you through what 36.co is and how it will help you boost your score. And so this is the website. When you get here, you can see a bunch of different things that are offered. So there is sections that show which features are on the website. But if you want to get started, then you would hit sign in, and that would start a flow to actually take you to the app itself. So this is what you land on. This is the welcome page. And this just gives an overview of why I created this website and what my background is and why I'm qualified to kind of give you advice on how to study and practice for this. And um, there's also a link here to a resource that talks about the experience of taking the ACT, the test day, and things like that. When you feel like you're ready to take your first quiz, you would come here and say, hey, I'm ready to try a quiz. Now, the thing that makes 36 different from other websites is that we focus on identifying your specific weaknesses. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, and our goal is to be able to identify what you're strong at and what you're weak at. And the way that works is we try to point, hey, are there some specific concepts in English that you're struggling with? And are there some specific concepts in math that you're struggling with? Why don't you do more practice on those versus just studying everything at once? So, for example, if you might be struggling with punctuation, and you struggle with how to use commas, how to use semicolons, then the idea is that you should be practicing more on punctuation, not just on everything all at once. Yeah, again, you might be struggling with maybe in math, it's like a probability concept, and you're struggling with that. The idea is that you should be practicing more on that versus just doing all practice tests at once. And so this quizzes section is where all these different quizzes are, right? So targeted quizzes on specific concepts. So when you come to English here, you'll see some punctuation tests, punctuation quizzes. And when you open a punctuation quiz, you'll see a bunch of different quizzes here. And so this is just an overview of what the punctuation is about. And this is what a quiz looks like, right? You'll see here the number of students who've attempted that quiz. So you can see that 470 students have taken this quiz. And also this is the status of if you've already attempted that quiz before or not. When you start the quiz, you'll see a passage of 15 questions, and they're presented in the same way that the ACT is presented. So you can essentially go ahead and select some responses here. Let's just fill out some responses for the sake of seeing what it looks like. So uh, 15 questions. And when you're done with this, the idea then, so we can submit the answers. And the idea is that after you submit the answers, you can see that, hey, what I select, was it correct or wrong? And if it's correct, you can also see the explanation for why it's correct. If you're curious why C, for example, is not correct, you can click on C and you can see the explanation for why C is not correct. So again, you can go through all the questions that you've submitted. For example, here you submitted no change, but the answer is actually this. You can see why your choice was wrong. And this is the part that kind of like feeds back into what you learn. So the more you take these quizzes, the more you kind of like refine your understanding of these concepts. Um, so that's the quiz section. It's the same thing for math as well. So there's a bunch of different concepts that are under the math section, and you can go through those and have a similar experience, the same way as English. With math, you will see that there is 15, again, it's 15 questions. These are formed in the same style as the ACT questions will come in, and you'll just be able to answer them and see the explanations for them. Now, let's say that you're done with the quiz, right? And you made some mistakes, but you want to go deeper into what the concept is. You can go to lessons. And on lessons here, these are video lessons that I've recorded myself that go over the concepts. And so, as an example, I will mute this, but this is what it looks like. it's a full-on presentation on mastering punctuation and all the different types of concepts that are tested around punctuation, all the different types of the traps that the ACT likes to throw at students. And so this is meant to give you a deep dive of that specific concept, right? So uh, as well as this text explanation. So again, under lessons, you'll see all these different concepts that have video lessons around them, and you can just go deep and watch them. Now, if you are done with quizzes, you've been taking lessons, now you want to get a sense of the real test, right? A real test typically will be much longer and will have a mixture of concepts. And so here's where the practice tests come in. With practice tests, you see this full length 5 passages, 15 questions test. And you can go through this and answer these questions, and you'll be able to see where you stand in, if you were to take the real test, and you'll also test your ability to manage your time, just the stress of like and the anxiety of the real test day. And so, in addition to that, whenever you take a quiz and submit, there is a history here that tracks all the things that you've done before. So, let's say you have been doing a bunch of quizzes, you'll see them here. If you take a practice test, there's also a way that we convert uh, the score that you have to be out of 36, just to get a sense of how you're doing. Um, and then, in addition to that, there's also this progress section here. And this progress section will essentially show you how you're trending on the specific concepts, right? So you've been taking quizzes and you're just curious, hey, how am I doing generally on punctuation? There is a way that we're measuring if you're at beginner level, if you're an intermediate, if you're advanced, and if you're elite. And as you take on quizzes, you come and see these progress bars that show up that tells you, hey, like, for punctuation, based on the quizzes you've been doing, we see that you're still at the beginner level, and you might need to maybe get more practice. And then similar for these other concepts here. And this is just to give you a snapshot of like, hey, if I log into the website, what should I be working on? Like, how do I go from I want to study for the ACT to knowing exactly what I should be studying for? So this progress bar will help you with that decision. Um, and there's also this last piece here, which is an additional feature, which is just to allow you to be able to keep yourself more accountable. So the idea of this planner section is for you to say at the beginning of every week, like, hey, I want to study. I want to study from 4 to 5 p.m. every day this coming week, right? And this is something that you want to commit to. And so once you commit to that, then we will be every day of that week. We'll just send you email reminders saying, "Hey, this is the commitment that you made to yourself. Please, if you can, just go ahead and study. Just remember why you studied this. You want to go to college. You want to get maybe you want to get become a doctor. You want to become this career. Like those are the steps that will take you there. So it's just a motivation to just keep you going. And yeah, so that's mostly it. That's mostly the website. The goal is to be able to allow you to practice as much as possible with the things that you need to practice on, and not just everything all at once. So if this sounds interesting to you, I would recommend you to just sign in, get started, take 1 or 2 quizzes, and then see how that goes. But other than that, I wish you all the best as you're studying. There is a contact site page in this website. You can reach out to me anytime you want to, and I'm happy to help. Yeah, cheers.